Hello, welcome to Talking Music, where every song has a story. My name's Paul, and what we like to do on this channel is talk about some of the world's best-known songs, get behind the music, as it were, talk about the facts, the information, the stories, sometimes the secrets of a song. And today's song is Rod Stewart and Maggie May, and this was the song that changed Rod's life. It was his turning point, and even with the large collection of songs to his repertoire today, it is the first song that people would mention when they hear the name Rod Stewart. It was released as a double A-side initially, along with Reason to Believe from the album Every Picture Tells a Story, but it was Maggie May that got the plays on the radio and the TV. The song tells the story of a teenager and schoolboy involved in a relationship with an older woman, and it was written from Rod's own experience as a 16-year-old in 1961 at the Bewley Jazz Festival in the New Forest in the south of England, where he met an older woman called Margaret, who was 33 at the time, who took a liking to him, shall we say. Yes, she came onto him strongly. Though the song tells of a relationship with an older woman, Rod's experience as a 16-year-old was more of an encounter.
She was where I lost my virginity in the early 60s. She was a big girl, and it was at the Bewley Jazz Festival in the south of England. And she dragged me into her tent, and this was the middle of the afternoon, and the deed was done.
And as you can see here, there's even some footage that was shot at the time, 1961, of the young Rod Stewart at the Bewley Jazz Festival. The song was recorded in late spring 1971, and the name Maggie May does not appear in the song lyrics. Maggie May was the name of an old Liverpool folk song about a prostitute, and knowing that, you can't but help think what this Margaret, who was 33 in 1961, that's all we know about her, would have made of this song. We'll never know because she never came forward. The song was recorded at the Morgan Sound Studios in Willesden in London, and Rod, who was a member of the Faces at the time, brought two of his bandmates in to help on the song, Ian McLagan on organ and Ronnie Wood on electric guitar. The other musicians were Mickey Waller on drums, who forgot to bring his cymbals with him to the session, so they had to be overdubbed a week later, Martin Quittenton on rhythm guitar, and mandolin player Ray Jackson from the band Lindisfarne. The song was recorded in 2 takes, and it became the biggest hit of the rock era to feature a mandolin, because that particular instrument was usually limited to folk music. Ray Jackson was paid a session fee, £15, to play the mandolin as a session musician. And the success of the song must have rankled him because many years later, in fact in 2003, Jackson threatened legal action because he was convinced his contribution to Maggie May was essential to the success of the song. Rod himself wasn't aware of this issue until the 1980s, but responded through a spokesman, possibly a lawyer, who said any contribution he may have made was fully paid for at the time as work for hire. The fact is, though, that on the album Every Picture Tells a Story, Ray Jackson's credit read, "The mandolin was played by the mandolin player from Lindisfarne. The name slips my mind. Insult to injury." The record company, Mercury, didn't bother about Maggie May's length, it was over 5 minutes, because they regarded it as the B-side to Reason to Believe. At the time, songs played on the radio tended to be no more than 3.5 minutes. It was considered to have no hit potential whatsoever because there was no real chorus to the song. But DJs thought differently. They thought there was enough vocal and instrumental developments to keep the song interesting. Rod himself didn't think it was a hit because he fell into the way of his record labels thinking. He thought they knew better. But how wrong they all were. It became a very big hit, topping the US and UK charts at the same time. That's a real double top. The album Every Picture Tells a Story did exactly the same thing, making Rod the first artist to have the #1 single and album in both the US and UK at the same time. Like I said at the start, this song was Rod's real turning point. Before this, his reputation in the UK was growing. Every Picture was his third album. But he was unknown in the States, so Maggie May made him somewhat of an overnight sensation there. And it wasn't long after that Rod moved to the United States because of the 90% taxes levied on high-income earners in the 1970s in the UK. There's no video to accompany this song, as it was pre-video days, but an appearance on Top of the Pops, the premier British music programme aired weekly in 1971, when the song was number one, was most often used as a promotional footage of the song, but the guys are not taking it too seriously, with them kicking a football around the stage and the legendary British DJ John Peel pretending to play the mandolin very badly. But hey, that's rock and roll, and it rock and rolled the charts as well too. This is how it looked. First the American chart, October the 2nd, 1971, it went to number one there. 5 weeks to the top in America, took 12 weeks to reach number one, and spent 14 weeks in the top 20 altogether. It was his first hit there, and it turned gold. It sold 1.3 million copies. And it did well in the American year-end chart for 1971. As you can see there, the second bestseller of the year in the States. Good way to introduce yourself in America, I'd say. And on the UK charts, pretty much a mirror image of what happened in America. It went to number one just a week later, October the 9th. 5 weeks again at number one, just like America. And it turned out to be the second best seller of the year that year, behind My Sweet Lord from George Harrison. Let's have a look at the top five bestsellers for that year, 1971 in the UK. And there you can see Rod Stewart, Maggie May at number two. A couple of other facts about the song. Rolling Stone magazine in 2004 put it at number 131 on the 500 greatest songs of all time. And when this became a hit, Rod's popularity surpassed that of the Faces, his band, and they started being billed as Rod Stewart and the Faces, which Rod himself didn't like. He didn't care for that sort of billing. He just wanted to be the singer in the band, not the focus. And when the song went to number one in October 1971, Rod knew straight away who he wanted to tell first: his mum and dad, who had supported him through the bleak years.
Thinking about the time that you were driving along in your Rolls Royce, no doubt big sparkling car, and you got news in from the BBC that you were number one with
Maggie May.
Maggie May.
Yeah.
Okay. And you turned the car around.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because they were so instrumental, especially my dad, in making me stay in the business when it all looked a bit bleak. And, you know, he said, stay at it, son, you'll get there. I had a lot of support from me two brothers as well.
Really?
But anyway, it was number one. I thought there's only two people I want to thank. So I drove all the way back to Highgate and knocked on the door. They'd already found out. Somebody had phoned them up. But it was a moment I'll never forget for the rest of my life. It was like, yes.
We did it. We did it together. Okay. Do you want...
And it's Rod Stewart's most defining song. And whenever the audience gets to choose, it's the one they want him to sing.
Oh, Maggie, I couldn't have tried anymore. You led me away from home, 'cause you didn't want to be alone. Come on now. That's it.
That's it. Okay. Thanks a million.
It's an absolute classic that kick-started one of the most successful careers in music. That's Maggie May from, let's give him his full title, Sir Rod Stewart. And this has been Talking Music, where every song has a story. Do subscribe to the channel for more facts, information, stories and secrets about some of the world's best-known songs. So just click on the subscribe button below to see more. And until the next video, I wish you well. So till then, bye-bye.